Hey everybody, Carey Hodsden, PGA here, ex-golf Chesapeake, with hopefully a few more words of wisdom regarding the golf swing. So I've done some lessons recently talking about how we want to try to come in under the shaft plane, not over the shaft plane, or not even really on the shaft plane, but more under the shaft plane if at all possible. Now we've talked about this, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit, and I'm going to talk about it as well and move it into another part of the swing that I want to talk about, which is the change of direction, okay? And let me tell you something, man. Probably the hardest thing there is to really sort of assimilate into your golf swing is the change of direction. Once again, I want to apologize if you see lights on my forehead. That's from the projectors. We don't have rear projectors, we have front projectors here. But I want you to try to disregard the lights in my forehead and my eyes. I know I look kind of weird. All right, so let's talk about coming in under the shaft plane. Okay, so what are we talking about when we're talking about that? We're talking about, once again, if we start here and our shaft plane is like this, right? This is our shaft plane. I'm going to grab another club here so that we can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. Again, if we start here, we do not want this club to kind of leave that shaft plane as much as possible. We want to try to keep on that same shaft plane. So we're going to come back here. Well, hopefully the shaft plane is going to be similar to what it is down at the bottom. We're going to come back down here and we're going to try to get to a position where our shaft plane is very, very similar. Now what I want you to do is I want you to think about getting your hands a little bit lower through impact because of the fact, once again, we'll talk about this. I think this is one of the most important things in the golf swing, and I think it doesn't get any play, and I think it needs to be talked about ad nauseum, and I really think you guys need to think about this. Golf club is heavy, it's toe heavy. I've talked about this in other lessons, which means when you swing it down and through this 3-foot, 4-foot stick, depending on what club you're hitting, this shaft is going to bow like this, okay, right down in this area. It's going to bow down, which means that if you come in on the same shaft plane that you started with, let's say for instance you started here, if you come in with the same shaft plane and that club bows down, what's going to happen? If the club bows down, the toe is going to go in the ground. It's also going to, if the club bows down, it's going to shorten the club from your perspective. Okay? It's going to make it shorter, which means you'll most likely hit off the toe if you're swinging properly. Okay? And you come in directly on the exact same shaft plane. And you might get toe deep. You might catch a little bit of toe divot. So if you see those long strip kind of divots, that's from your toe of your club. Okay? Not good. That's not what we're looking for. Okay? So if you are coming in, if your shaft plane is like this club here, the shaft without a club on it, okay, there you go. You want to come in slightly below this shaft plane. See how my grip is lower? You want your shaft plane to come in slightly below so that when this thing bows down, it squares up to the golf ball. Okay? And the sole of the club squares up to the ground. This is hugely important. Hugely important. Okay? And something that very few people have done very, very well. Hogan was one of them. Lee Trevino, another one, tremendous ball striker. You know, there's been good ones over the years that have done a tremendous job of it. But let me tell you something. You know, a lot of guys, what they did, instead of realizing this or working with it or understanding the physics of it, they go and they get XXX stiff shafts. I mean, as stiff as you can possibly get, right? And they make their clubs upright and they swing real upright. You know, and basically it's almost like a scoop swing. You know, they just don't want to let the shaft bow down. They don't want to let it bend. But for me, I like the shaft bowing down. I like the whip that'll you know, explode into the head. I like that. I don't want to use all my muscles and my bones and my energy all the time to hit every single shot. I'd like the club to do it for me. Okay, and most of us are in the same boat, unless you're like built like a brick house, you know, and you spend all your time in the gym and all your time golfing and hitting golf balls. Man, you need to do it in a more classic way, you know, in my opinion. Let the club do the work for you. Don't you force the club to do what you want it to do. let it do what it was designed to do, okay? So, having said that, we want to come in slightly underneath the shaft plane. Now, what is that leading me into? So what that's leading me into is the change of direction in your golf swing. Now, I've got a buddy with Chris Hudson with Polygon Golf, who is really a Hogan aficionado, really good with Hogan stuff. And I think he's pretty much distilled what Hogan was doing. I mean, there's a couple little things here and there that he does that are his own methodology, but for the most part, he understood how rotary everything was with Hogan. How his arms were rotary, his hands were rotary, his shoulders, his hips, everything was rotary with that guy, okay? And I love that, okay? Because it's easier to do, and it keeps everything moving in the same direction. What Chris did was he put a couple of clubs down here, which I think is a really good idea, at 45-degree angles around you, okay? Which creates a 90-degree angle here. And the ball's in the center of this, and you're in the center of this thing. Okay, and basically what he's saying is that you want to come in on this 45-degree angle with your body this way, you know, with your shaft this way, and then once you get over here, you want to come in on this 45-degree angle and finish your golf swing with your hips this way. Okay. Now the reason I put these down here and sort of cherry pick off of what Chris is saying is because I want to talk about the change of direction. The change of direction is right here. Okay, it's in the center of the golf swing. Now, for you to make this change of direction to square the golf club, it takes some doing. Okay, your body's got to be able to turn. You've got to be able to turn yourself, and you have to make a conscious decision in your head to make this turn. If you do not make this conscious decision to make this turn in the backswing, you know, on the way down, if you do not make this conscious decision to turn in this way, you're not going to make the change of direction. Your ball's going right, or you're going to flip at it and you're probably going to hit a little bit of a push hook or something like that. There's going to be a lot of mishits. That's the bottom line. Okay. So what I want to discuss with you is when we're going back through here and we're trying to come in under the plane, it's a lot easier to change directions if your hands are lower than if they're higher. Period. Okay. If your hands are lower, it's easier to change directions through the impact area than it is if they're higher. Remember that, okay? It's because of how the club feels in your hand. It's because of how the club bows down through impact. There's a myriad of reasons, okay? But it will feel a lot easier if you try to come in under the plane versus on the plane or over the plane, okay? So, once again, we're going to come, take our swing back. We're going to try to come, instead of coming straight back down the plane, we're going to try to come under the plane with lower hands, okay? And we're going to get in position, once we're back in here, coming on this inside 45 right here, you know, on our backswing, we're going to try to come under the plane and make sure that we're turning our body all the way through with our slot, which, you know, if you haven't listened to the slot lesson, the slot is the imaginary circle around your body here, okay, that your hands travel in all the way around, okay? And we want to get in this slot here and make our change of direction all the way through to where our hips are along the second 45, you know, following through. So you feel like your shaft and your hips are on the inside 45 going back, and then as you go through, you feel like they get to this 45. The reason Chris's idea here with these shafts works so good is because you can look down and visually see where your shaft is when you make this move. This will help you make the turn. This will help you make the transition from, you know, backswing to through swing, okay, or downswing to through swing, okay? So you have to make the conscious decision to make this change of direction. This change of direction will essentially balance your swing, right? So you go to the right. This is the thing. People get so caught up in everything that's going on in the backswing that they forget about the through swing. Through swing is way more important than what's going on in the backswing. If I were you, I wouldn't work on anything but the through swing and basically let the backswing take care of itself. You know, I would work on the through swing with drills and things like that, okay? So what I would tell you is put a couple of clubs down like this at a 90-degree angle, 45 degrees on each side, so that you can see where your shaft is going to be as you're coming through, right through here, okay? Looks weird, right? And then I'm going to change directions, bang, now I'm on the other one. All I did was turn my hips and my shoulders, bang, okay, I'm right here, you see that? All right, and that's allowed me to change directions and go to the other side. When you do this, your hands are going to be leading. The back, you know, the knuckles of your left hand and the knuckles of your right hand. They're going, and these two fingers of your right hand, the last three fingers of your left hand are going to be leading the golf swing. Okay, and you've got to allow them to change direction. When we're at X Golf here, and I'm teaching folks, what I do is I get them to set up to hit the golf ball, and I tell them that I want their knuckles pointed at this X Golf sign, you know, as they're going through, as soon as they possibly can. Because I want them to change direction, okay, and close off their golf swing. We go this way easily. We change direction easily to go to the right side, right, or to the trail side. Now on the lead lead side, I want to change direction to that. So when I go through here, the ball is just in the way of my change of direction all the way over here to the X Golf sign. Okay, that's what it is. So coming in under the plane, that's the first thing. Slightly under this plane that we set up here, we want to come in slightly under it, okay? And it will become much easier if you come in slightly under the plane to change direction, all right? So I'm going to demonstrate one here, and hopefully I don't screw it up, so that you can see the change of direction and see how it works, okay? So I'm going to go back, I'm going to try to come in under the plane, and I'm going to try to change direction going off to the left, which should balance the look of the swing on both sides. Finish fully, finish in balance, hold your finish for the count of 3, you're going to be well on your way. All right, so here we go. This is me coming in under the plane and changing direction through the swing, okay? Well, it missed right there, but the strike was really, really good. So we go back, right, with our 45s, and we can see exactly where the shaft is and where it needs to be. All right, this is really, really a good lesson. This is really, really will help you get an idea of how to turn back and how to turn through in the golf swing and what that change of direction means. It's not a violent move. It's just a decision that you have to make. Like when you start getting back here, you've got to make this decision that you're going to change direction this way right from before you get to the top of the backswing. You've got to make the decision, and you've just got to go for it. Just go and do it. Video yourself a little bit, okay? Post your videos. I'll look at them, all right? So once again, leave comments in the bottom. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you think, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the golf swing. I'm Carey Hodsden, PGA at X Golf Chesapeake. Until next time, hit them long and straight, and I will see you soon. Thanks.